So as I say, this is just a nice, short, sweet speech about budget airlines. So there's really no vocab or anything, it's just quite well structured, hopefully. I'll try to throw in a few things, but here we go. We're all ready? Yes, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I absolutely love to travel. In the past 6 months, I've been to 5 countries, some of them more than once. I love, as I'm sure all of you do, discovering new places, meeting new people, learning about other cultures, escaping Brussels. My generation, however, is incredibly lucky compared to my parents' generation because we have the opportunity to travel very easily, largely thanks to budget or low-cost airlines like Ryanair and EasyJet. In the last 20 years, budget airlines have boomed. Their concept is simple. They remove the more traditional services provided in the fare, which results in lower fares and fewer comforts. To make extra money, they charge extra for services like baggage, food, priority boarding. They've made travel much more accessible to everybody. However, it's not all plain sailing. So today, I'll just give you an idea of some of the advantages and disadvantages of budget airlines. The main advantage is, of course, the price. No longer do we have to save for months to be able to afford a holiday abroad. These airlines offer seats from as little as $9.99. Even as the takeoff date approaches, fares can still remain significantly cheaper than that of normal airlines like Brussels Airlines or Air France. These cheap fares also make it easier most of the time to book last minute. There are also many promotions when these budget airlines need to fill seats, so you might just find a great bargain. Secondly, buying cheap flights means that you have more money to spend on holiday. When you're flying to a location which is only a few hours away, you really only need transport that gets you from A to B. Sacrificing a bit of comfort on the plane is worth it, as it means you'll have more money to splash out on holiday. Another benefit of these low-cost airlines is the off-peak promotions. You can often save quite a lot of money by flying midweek, late at night, or at quieter times of the year. Although some people can see this as a disadvantage. So far, so good in general, however. Offering customers low fares, on the other hand, though, it means the airlines need to make money from other services. And this is where the first disadvantage can be found, in hidden fees. Food and drink is rarely included in the fare to begin with. Plus, you now usually need to print your ticket off beforehand at home or use an e-ticket. A lot of airlines actually now charge you if you turn up at the airport without a ticket. I found myself in such a situation 10 years ago. I was young and naive and didn't realise that I had to print off the ticket beforehand. When I arrived at the airport, I was told to pay £40 to print off one sheet of paper, or I couldn't fly. And as a young, poor student, I had to make a panic phone call to my parents, as I didn't actually have £40 in my bank account, and they had to transfer me the money. So I certainly learned my lesson that time. Another hidden fee is travelling to the airport, because quite often these budget airlines, like Ryanair, have flights to airports that are slightly further out from the city airports. So for example, in Brussels, all the big airlines tend to fly from Brussels Zaventem, the city airport. And Ryanair, for example, flies from Charleroi. What drives me crazy is, for example, last week I booked a last-minute flight to Scotland for €35 return. So that's all the way to Scotland and back. And for the bus to Charleroi, which is it's kind of the same time actually, it's a 50-minute journey, a return ticket cost me €28.40. So it's another hidden fee that you maybe don't consider when you're booking these flights. Another downside to budget airlines is what they do in emergency situations. Absolutely nothing. If your flight is cancelled or delayed, bigger airlines would probably offer you accommodation, maybe transport, might even give you some food vouchers. With budget airlines, you can forget that. You'll struggle to even get a food voucher. They can be so crafty when in difficult situations. There's an EU regulation, which is EU Regulation 261 on passenger rights, that states that if a flight is delayed for longer than 3 hours, the airline has to provide you with food and drink. And However, budget airlines usually manage to bypass this by delaying the flight for 2 hours and 55 minutes. The last disadvantage I'd like to speak about is, in my opinion, the absolute worst: baggage. I think this is probably one of the easiest ways for these budget airlines to make money. They're constantly finding creative ways to make us pay up. For example, I fly mainly with Ryanair and EasyJet, and a couple of years ago, Ryanair allowed one small suitcase and one handbag on board. They've now upped their game. This year in January, they introduced a new baggage policy. If you buy a basic fare, you can only take a handbag on board. Your small suitcase will be tagged and placed in the hold. If you buy the next fare up, you will be allowed to take both bags on board. In preparation for this speech, I looked up a random flight on Ryanair and found that the difference between both of these fares was on average about €30. So if you're on a city break, you have two options. You can pay a lower fare, wait at the baggage carousel for who knows how long, and cross your fingers that your bag arrives in one piece, or you can pay more money. It's looking less and less like a budget airline. It's like daylight robbery sometimes. To sum up, budget airlines are fantastic when there are no problems, when the flights are on time, when your bag fits into their very strict sizes. On the other hand, if there's even the slightest problem, budget airlines can very quickly make you regret choosing a lower fare just to save money. In any case, these airlines have revolutionised the way we travel and have made it possible for so many more people to do so. But if you do choose to book a flight with them, make sure you read the small print before you fly. Thank you very much.